Hi, I'm Tia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you the books I hope to read this spring. Hopefully this video is coming out on the first day of spring. That is my intention, at least. And I have really been sort of in the spring mood. I think it's because over the last week it got a little bit warmer here in North Carolina in the IBX, and all of my neighbors have been out mowing their yards and weeding their flower beds and doing all kind of like spring gardening, which really put me in the mood for like spring. And I started thinking about all of the books on my TBR that either have the word garden in the title or have flowers on the cover or maybe are about flowers. And so I just pulled all of them out and I really want to read them. I almost stopped reading the books that I was reading for March and started reading these instead because I was just so excited about spring. But I've decided to hold off at least for a little while. I'm in the middle of two books that I'm doing for middle grade March and March Mystery Madness, and then I will probably switch over to these pretty soon. But anyway, wanted to share them with you and see if there was any that you had read and you recommend, or if you know if these actually take place in spring. I guess it doesn't really matter if they take place in spring, because to me all of the gardening and flower stuff definitely gives me spring vibes, whether or not they take place in spring or not. There is one that isn't really gardening, but the cover has a lot of flowers on it that I am planning on reading here at the end of March, and that's because it's going to be for the Buzzword-a-thon prompt for March, which is to read a book with a character's name in the title. So I plan on reading Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies for that. This is by Heather Fawcett, and as you can see, it has a beautiful floral cover, and I don't really think this probably has anything to do with spring or gardening, but it is about this woman who is studying fairies, and I believe she is like trying to create a whole encyclopedia of all of her knowledge about them. That's really all I know about it. I've heard a ton of praise for this book, so I've been looking forward to reading it, and I think this is going to be the perfect time to read it because it will fit for the Buzzword-a-thon. And then the rest of these, like I said, are all just they either have the word garden in the title or they are about some sort of floral element. There's a lot of cozies in here. So first I have a couple by Sarah Addison Allen. Now the first one does have the word garden in the title, so this is Garden Spells. I've had this for so long and I can't believe I haven't read it yet. So I really, really want to get to this one. This is about, I believe, I haven't read the back of the book in a while, so I could be wrong, but I believe this is about a family of witches, and I think it's more on the magical realism side of things, so it's not a full-on like hardcore fantasy, but it's set in like the real world, and this family just has like a touch of magic, and I'm assuming that it has something to do with gardening, but honestly I don't really know. This one is just, well, all of these are really on here because they have the word garden in the title, and I'm assuming that they're going to have a garden in the story somewhere. On that note, I also pulled out the same author, The Peach Keeper. This one doesn't have the word garden, but it does have flowers all over the cover, and this definitely makes me think of spring. So I'm hoping that this one has some sort of spring, new beginnings, growth topics in here. The back of the book really doesn't say anything to do with gardens or magic, but it sounds like there's a mystery in this one. I don't know. We'll see. I may start these, and if they don't give me any spring vibes within the first couple of chapters, I may push them back a little while. So we'll just see how it goes. Then I have The Rose Garden by Susanna Kearsley, another one that I've had on my TBR shelf for quite some time. This one, I think the reason why I haven't picked it up is because it does look rather chunky, which always makes me feel a little bit intimidated. So it is over 400 pages, but that's not too bad. 428, that's really not too bad. Anyway, I picked this one up because I've heard that it has some sort of like time travel elements, which is really one of my buzzwords, especially if there's also a little bit of romance involved. And this one, I think maybe the word saga has been thrown around. I could be completely mistaken. But anyway, I definitely want to read this one. Hopefully this spring. Hopefully, because I do have another chunker on this TBR as well, and that is The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton. So this one I know is going to involve a garden, and I don't know if it's going to take place in spring, but I have loved the other books I've read by Kate Morton, and I definitely want to read more. So this will be a great one, I think, for the spring months. I have read The Lake House, which is right here on the title. And then also in February, I read The Clockmaker's Daughter, which I also really love. So I would like to continue on with her works. And luckily, this one has the word garden in the title. So her books are always like dual timelines, and both the timelines kind of, you know, obviously work together to end up telling the full story. And one is always set in the past and one in the present day, or at least close to the present day. And The Clockmaker's Daughter had more than just 2 timelines. So I'm wondering about this one, how many timelines this one will have. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that one. Then I have In the Shadow Garden by Liz Parker. So this one is another one that I think is magical realism, or this may just be straight up urban fantasy. I'm not sure. But it is about a family of witches who live in Kentucky, and they are known for their shadow garden where they grow, like, I don't know, different, it looks like herbs and vegetables and fruits and stuff, and I think they can like cure different things. Not like, so I think they cure like heartache and that type of thing, not like physical ailments. I don't think they're like, you know, used for medicinal properties, but I think they can make people feel a certain type of way, if that makes sense. And it seems like there's a mystery that happened in this town several years before, 20 years before. And so during this book, I think they're going to try to figure out what happened way back then. Anyway, I think this one might be set in the summer, which is okay. It's still a garden thing and it's fine. I'm into the garden thing. We're doing gardens. Okay. Then I have A Sprinkling of Murder, a fairy garden mystery by Daryl Wood Gerber. So I meant to read this one last year when I first purchased it last spring. Yeah, I purchased it last March. So I'm hoping that I can get to it this March, because this one definitely looks like a springtime read. This is about a woman who has just moved to California to start her own fairy garden and tea shop business. And it looks like she teaches garden design and sells everything from fairy figurines to tinkling wind chimes. But someone is found dead in her garden, I think, or beside her patio fountain, and the police suspect her as the murderer, and so she has to work to figure out what is going on. This one has so much spring vibes. This is probably one of my on the top of my TBR. Okay, then I have the second in a series that I have been meaning to continue, and that one is The Vanderbeekers and the Hidden Garden by Karina Jan Glaser. Anyway, so I read the first one of these a couple of years ago and just never continued on. I really, really loved the first book. I don't know why. I'm really bad at continuing series, but anyway, this one is about a family that lives in New York in this brownstone, and it's just really, really heartwarming. I loved all of the kids and the parents and everything in the first book. In this one, they have like a deadline where they have to take this abandoned rundown lot and turn it into a community garden within like 19 days or something. I'm not really sure why, but anyway, I think it'll be super cute. I love this family, and this is going to be taking place in spring actually, because the cover kind of gives fall vibes, but it has to do with gardens, so we're going with that one too. Then I have The Last Garden in England by Julia Kelly. This is a historical fiction novel. Actually, it's a dual timeline novel, or a triple timeline novel, but one of the timelines takes place in present day, and then there are 2 other timelines set, I think one's like early 1900s and the other one's like mid 1900s. And the one in present day is following this woman who restores gardens, and she is about to start restoring a garden in Highbury House. I don't know why that is so hard for me to say. Anyway, in England, and the other timelines are going to be taking place at the same house. I'm assuming they're all going to intersect to flesh out the whole entire story. This cover is absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to read that one. Then I have a few more. So I have like 5 more cozy mysteries, the first in a series for each one of these. And I don't know if I will get to all of these, but they all have something to do with either flowers or gardening. So I pulled them out and we'll just see which ones I end up getting to. The first one I have here is Natural Thorn Killer by Kate Dyer Seeley. This is the first in the Rose City Mystery series. I think that this one only has 2 books in it because I guess they just didn't continue on with the series. They didn't keep publishing them. So yeah, if this one's good, I may just go ahead and binge this since there's only 2. We'll see how it goes. This is following a woman who has quit her job and I guess left behind her deadbeat husband, and she started working at her aunt's floral boutique. And of course, they end up discovering a dead body, or someone ends up dying around them, and they have to figure out who did it together. Then I have Pruning the Dead by Julia Henry. This one is about an older sleuth, which I always enjoy reading about. This one is following 65-year-old Lily Jane, she's known for keeping the most manicured garden in Goosebush, Massachusetts. So, but of course, you know, there's going to end up being a murder, and I'm sure she and probably her friends are going to be involved in trying to figure out who did it. I'm not sure what the name of this series is, but I know it has a ton out in it already, and it looks very spring and very gardeny, which is not a word, but anyway. Okay, then I have Daisies for Innocence by Bailey Cottrell. This is the first in the Enchanted Garden mystery series, and this is following a woman who she makes like perfumes, I think, and it's a custom-made perfumes. She has a store that does custom-made perfumes, and a lot of the scents that she uses comes out of her own personal garden. And I think when you go to her store, you can like walk around her garden, and maybe she sells tea or something. It just sounds super cozy. Obviously, there's going to be a murder and a mystery, but I've heard great things about this series in the past. Now, I think I got this 3 or 4 years ago, so back when I was hearing a lot about it. And I think this one only has a few in the series as well, so that'd be fun to binge too. Okay, then I have Mum's the Word by Kate Collins. This is a flower shop mystery. Now, this one has a ton in this series, which is a little bit overwhelming, but I definitely want to give this one a try. I think this one also has a TV show spin-off series, not spin-off series, but a TV show adaptation on the Hallmark Channel, maybe? I can't remember which channel, but I think that might be it. Anyway, this one is about Abby, I believe, who she decided to drop out of law school and start her own flower shop. And of course, there's going to be a murder and a mystery. And yeah, I'm hoping at least one of these takes place in spring. But either way, the gardening and the flowers are going to give me spring vibes. Okay, and then the last one I have here is not actually a garden one. It's a farm one. But for some reason, this series just really gives me spring vibes. This is The Tale of Hilltop Farm by Susan Wittig Albert. So this is the first in is this called the Cottage Tales? Yeah, the first of the Cottage Tales. So this one is a historical mystery, and it's following a fictionalized version of Beatrix Potter. She has moved to this farm, and I think she's been working on, you know, all of her drawings and writings and stuff. And there is going to be obviously a murder and a mystery, and this one just looks so cozy. And that is the last one that I have on the spring TBR. Hopefully I can get through a lot of these, and hopefully they give me some great springtime vibes. If you've read any of these and you think that I should prioritize one or more of them over some of the others, please let me know that down in the comments. And if any of these that I've mentioned, you know, like definitely take place in like the winter, you can let me know that too. Maybe I will skip those. The one I'm not so sure about is the Peach Keeper. That one I'm not sure if it actually has garden vibes. I just was basing that recommendation, or not recommendation, but TBR choice based on the cover. So anyway, if you know more about that one, let me know in the comments. Or if there's any of these that you are thinking that you might read this spring, I would love to know that. Maybe we can set up an Instagram chat and chat about them this spring. Other than that, that is all. That is my spring TBR. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all doing well, reading something great, and I'll see you next time.